Hello, I'm Elijah Wood, and I'm a record nerd. I grabbed this record called Soviet Funk. I have no idea what it sounds like, but the very notion, and it's volume 2 as well, which I found very intriguing. I don't know, just the notion that in the 1970s there was a funk movement in Russia fascinated me, so I had to pick this up. This is a reissue. I believe this is Gal Costa's first record. There's a really amazing record store in New York called Tropicalia in Furs, and the purveyor introduced me to a lot of records. And I bought an album of hers called India, which is really amazing, super psychedelic. It was kind of around the same time as the Tropicalia movement was happening, so psychedelic rock was really jumping into what they were doing in Brazil, and she's just amazing. She was kind of at the forefront of that movement. I have no idea what this is. When you can spend, you know, anywhere from $1 to $5 on a record, and you don't necessarily know what it sounds like, it's sort of like a minor investment to find out what it's going to be when the cover's so amazing. In sort of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, really odd, strange record covers were kind of the norm. I think it's a Spanish prog rock album, a Catalan prog rock record, so I'm sure it'll be amazing. Small Faces. This album is incredible. I mean, it's sort of the blueprint for the White Stripes in a lot of ways. Just an incredible band. Rod Stewart's voice is ridiculous. Probably one of my favorite blues rock albums. Just amazing. So I don't have it on vinyl, so I need to get that. The Raincoats. All-female, I don't know what you call them, like a post-punk band, punk band? I wouldn't even know how to classify the Raincoats post-punk. I found out about these girls from, I mean, Kurt Cobain was a huge fan. That was the first time I'd heard of them. Did a little research and found their records and really liked them. And on this particular record, they did an amazing cover of The Kinks' Lola, which is one of my favorite versions of the song. Finders Keepers records, I'll pretty much buy anything that they release. I think they're an amazing record label. I trust pretty much everything that they do. This in particular, I'm a huge fan of the movie The Wicker Man. This is a collection of songs that inspired the soundtrack to The Wicker Man. And it's got the sort of original version of Willow's song, which is the song that the crazy gypsy girl, young girl, sings as she's writhing naked in the room next to the investigator, if you've seen the movie.
Smooth and stroke your hair.
Awesome scene, great song, and I'm sure this is a great collection as well. So, I was in the Bo Diddley section. I grabbed a couple of other of his records, but I'd never heard of this one.
Wake up, America.
Breaking Through the BS. This album was released in 1989. I'm totally fascinated. I have no idea what this is going to sound like. The back is pretty insane as well. Doesn't that look like something you'd see in like a notebook from some teenager like doodling at school? I picked this up. I have the song. Daft Punk obviously sampled Breakwater for Robot Rock. There's a song called Release the Beast. Basically, they took the whole song. I mean, it is. They didn't really do a whole lot to it. If you hear the original, but the original is rad and kind of has more to it, and obviously vocals. And I've not heard the rest of the record, so I was curious and wanted to check it out. And super, the 70s were so rad. Funk music, I mean, look at the outfits. People don't do that anymore. 13th floor elevators. I don't own any of their records, and I've heard a number of their songs for years, but I've never really owned anything. And I have a few Rocky Erickson solo records as well. So I thought it was high time that I jump into this band, which was so hugely influential, and actually coined the phrase psychedelic rock, which is kind of fascinating. I guess I started buying vinyl maybe 13 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that. Putting on a record, it's so different, especially nowadays when we're so used to listening to music in a semi-schizophrenic format. You know, we barely listen to songs. Everything's MP3s or on some sort of digital format. But the thing about putting on a record, a vinyl record, is that by the very act of putting the needle on the record, you've committed to listening to it. And I really like that. It sort of forces you to pay attention in a day and age in which our focus is drawn in so many different directions.
Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you, it's been super fun.